Thank you for joining us today on Pack 14 for Prepare Wicomico, where we share information about emergency preparedness here in Wicomico County. Now today we have our Director of Emergency Services, Dave Shipley, in the studio, and we're going to talk about a couple topics today. And we're going to start out with open air burning, and then we're going to give reminders on Know Your Zone. And then we have very fortunate to have with us later in the program, we're going to have Mike Loring from the Salisbury Police, and we're going to talk about the National Night Out. So David, thank you for joining us today on Pack 14.
Always a pleasure to be here.
So it's the summer season, and we need to remind our citizens about open air burning and what that could cause the fire companies to have to respond out and unnecessary use of resources here in the county.
Yeah, that's correct. If you're considering an open air burning in the county, there's 4 reference resources that we would like to direct you to, because there are municipalities in the county and there's COMAR regulations that apply. The first thing I'd like to make comment on would be generally the verbiage that's contained in all of those deal with what's allowable, what you can apply or seek approval for, what's prohibited, and then also language about tending to the fire, having a real live person that's watching it to make sure it doesn't spread. And then the other thing that's common thread through all the references that I'll mention just briefly is a fire break. That's something that's going to keep the fire from spreading from where it is and control it, either a wall or a distance. And it's different in the sources that I'm going to mention to you.
So like you said, a lot of regulations going on, so the public's not confused. They should be referencing these materials that you're going to mention, and they can also call their local, if they're in a town municipality, they can call their town hall and get more information.
That's correct. One of the places that you need to go to reference two state organizations would be the Code of Maryland Regulations. It's called COMAR. Most people know it by that. There are rules and regulations in there that the health department's responsible for enforcing, and also DNR. We have to consider the Municipal Code of Salisbury. They have language in there. And in Wicomico County, when there are drought conditions that are severe enough in the county that they're posing imminent threats to life and property, the county executive consider putting a temporary ban on open air burning. That ban would contain in it the details specific to the situation. He can do that for a period of time, and then with council approval that can also be extended. Now, the county executive can impanel a committee that exists that's called the Burning Ban Committee. It's a committee that can make recommendations to the county executive about what to do. Okay, there are members of the Health Department, the Department of Natural Resources, the National Weather Service, Fire Service. We have people from planning and zoning from the county, and then members of my department that he could convene, and they can give him recommendations about what to do or not to do.
So again, very important for the public to know what they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. And they can get all that on the website, correct?
Yes, you can go to www.wicomicocounty.org/ES. Information is there containing information about what we've just discussed, as well as many other emergency preparedness topics.
Well, thank you for that great information. So viewers, we want to again remind you, we do not want uncontrolled open air burning, and especially during the summer drought season. It's undue resources on our 911 center and our local volunteer and career fire services. So again, heed Mr. Shipley's directions here. Take a look at those website, look at those documents, so we don't have these open air burnings that get out of control here in Wicomico County. So we're back with David Shipley, our Director of Emergency Services, and we're going to give you little reminders that we've talked about before here on Prepare Wicomico, and that's about our evacuation and how you should know your zone. So David, just give a little background on what the Know Your Zone is.
We have a tiered evacuation system that has been developed by my Department of Emergency Services. And what we did is we considered the risks throughout the county, the risks that would be associated with tropical storm and hurricane, tidal surge, and storm surge. We did that, and we developed this tiered system.
So to know your zone, they can go to a couple websites, so let's let them know where they can go.
Yes, for people to find out whether they're in those zones, and those zones, I forgot to mention, are associated with the Nanticoke and the Wicomico rivers. That's where those tiered zones apply at this point. What you can do is you can go to knowyourzonemd.com, or you can go to our website, www.wicomicocounty.org. org/ES. You can go to those sites and using your address find out whether you're in one of the tiered zones. And it's important to know that ahead of time for your planning, to know if you are or not in one of those tiered zones that we could be asking you to evacuate because of the tidal surge and the storm surge.
So we'll show a short video here of where you can go on the website and look up your address.
This is Russ Strickland, Executive Director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency.
And I am David Shipley, Director of the Wicomico County Department of Emergency Services. Hurricane season is well underway. We are here to ask you, do you know your zone?
During this hurricane season, we want all Marylanders and visitors to know their hurricane evacuation zone before an emergency hits.
The National Weather Service predicts that Maryland could be affected by 2 major storms. But regardless of the forecast, it only takes one storm to change your life.
That's why it's so important to know your hurricane evacuation zone and to make sure your family, neighbors, and co-workers know their zones as well.
There are 19 jurisdictions in Maryland, including Wicomico County, who have evacuation zones. Please help prepare your family and community today. Find out if you are in, near, or traveling to one of these zones at knowyourzonemd.com.
Don't wait for the storm. knowyourzonemd.com.
It's as easy as ABC.
So if you've looked that up on your website and you find that you're in that zone area, A, B, or C, Director Shipley, what's your actions going to be as you need to let the public know to take action?
Yes, what we've tried to do is pre-prepare folks ahead of time. So if they go on those websites, they're either going to be identified as being in one of 3 zones actually, or it's going to tell them they're not. And that's very important also. Now, if you are in one of those zones, if we are suffering emergency associated with significant tidal surge or storm surge, there will be information coming out from the local authorities, my office and the county executive's office, telling people what to do and what zones would be involved. And they can go to those 2 websites to find out if in fact they are. And that's good to know, because if you know you're not in those zones, you need to be listening up and monitoring information from local officials about to see maybe you may be in some other area that we need to identify as a potential evacuation location. But those in those zones, once they have been selected, would be something that you can prepare ahead of time for and know that you would have to move out of those areas to take precautions.
So again, it's very important to know your zone. That's why this campaign's ongoing. As the director said, you can check out that website. Please, if you find you're in one of those zones and they start giving out press releases, please heed those warnings. Heed the warnings from the Emergency Services Department, from the county executive. And then we also activate 211. So if they have a question, they can also call 211, correct?
Yes, during a declared emergency that's associated with a tropical storm or a hurricane, 211 becomes the information hotline to find out everything that you need to know in responding to the emergency.
So you have plenty of information here. Also, the entire county website, but especially emergency services for emergency preparedness. Share information with your family and your friends to go to that website, and we'll also remind them they can get that website translated, correct?
That's correct. It can be translated into Espanol, Spanish, or Haitian Creole by going to the right side of the website. There's a quick link there. You click on that and it will change all the information to those specific languages.
So very good. So again, wonderful information here from our Emergency Services Director about Know Your Zone and open air burning in this episode of Prepare Wicomico. Welcome back to Prepare Wicomico here on Pack 14. We have a special guest here on Prepare Wicomico today, and it's Corporal Mike Loring from Salisbury Police Department. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate that.
Great. So Corporal Loring's here to talk about National Night Out. So how long has National Night Out been in existence?
Well, it started, this is the 36th anniversary. It's a nationwide event. It's what National Night Out, of course. Right now, there's about 16,000 communities across the entire nation. 38 million people in attendance across the nation attend National Night Out. So it's a huge event, 16,000 communities.
Wow, that's great. And you said there's 16,000 of these across the country. And how are they run in most communities?
Well, very similar. What I've been told by the president of National Night Out, Matt Peskin, who founded this thing 36 years ago, what he was telling me is about 75% of the 16,000 communities that these National Night Out events are ran by the police departments, much like how we do it now, which is kind of evolved from when I first started doing it. I was telling you earlier, I was always involved with National Night Out, but it was more along the lines of coming out and just kind of helping out. Really did not do as much as, looking back, I could have done a lot more, and I wish that I did. Till last year, that's when I became the coordinator for the event, which was a huge event. You were out there. You brought the big rig.
Yeah. We bring our emergency services mobile command out, and we enjoy it. And you've taken a rather large undertaking. So you don't do this alone. I'm sure you have a committee and some sponsors.
Absolutely, yeah. This is made possible because I have a great committee. We were able to build off of last year's success. Last year we were ranked. The city was ranked 15th in the nation in our category. And the way that it breaks down, the award winners is based on your community's population size. We're the biggest naturally because we fall between the 15 and 50,000. Most towns and cities are a lot like ours, population size. So we were able to rank 15th. It's a great event last year. We had between 4,000 and 5,000 people. We were also the highest ranked city in all of Maryland, which is extremely impressive. The highest number we were able to rank was back in 2016, and that was 21st. So it was an awesome event. Last year, again, we had between 4,000 and 5,000 people. We had 100 vendors, a lot of good things. It's evolved to what it is today. And brick by brick is what I call it. Little by little, we're able to make it what it is now, and we have a lot of big plans for this year.
Yeah. So let's tell some of the viewers, or let's tell all the viewers, what some of your big plans are for this year, because it gets bigger and better every year.
Well, our goal is to be, we're talking about ranked 15th. Our goal is to be in the top 5 this year. Right. First and foremost, it's for the community. We want to give our community, the community of Salisbury, what it deserves, and it's a fantastic event. We try to embody what the National Night Out embodies. It's police and community partnerships. So with that said, I took a look. Our committee, we kind of dissected this. We met a couple months ago for our first meeting, and just prior to that, we were doing some research, and I was able to see Bartlett, Illinois. They're number 1. They were ranked number 1, and I was able to say, how are they able to do that? How are they able to become number 1? What are some of the things that they do? And in my profession, we borrow things, okay? I'm always a firm believer you don't reinvent the wheel. So I was kind of seeing what they do. It's usually between them and another city in Minnesota. They kind of battle out for number 1, and I'm like, well, let's see what they do. So met with the committee, and we started doing some think tank, and we came up with instead of just celebrating the one day, which this year it's August 6th. Real quick, it's always the first it's always the first Tuesday in August. So August 6th down at the city park. Your viewers know it's such a lovely location because our footprint can expand, and it's so big, and we have a great committee. Tom Stevenson from the city, he's on the committee. His team does a phenomenal job. So it takes a lot of preparation and planning, which we already have in place. But one of the big things is, how can we make this better? Instead of just a one event, we decided to make this a National Night Out campaign. So with that said, what we decided was, instead of just doing the one night, let's do some satellite events to make it a whole campaign. Kind of like in the Christmas, Christmas cheer. It starts in September.
Right.
Now in retail, but as it goes on, we're spreading the National Night Out cheer. So what that entails is our first satellite event is going to be at Third Friday, July 19th.
Okay, wonderful.
Their theme is moon, the first lunar landing, 50th anniversary. So what we're going to do is this event, and I'm going to publish all of our events on our Facebook page, National Night Out 2019 in Salisbury, Maryland. Real easy. Please come like us, follow us. A lot of the updates are on there.
Okay, so we're going to kick it off. That's going to be a new thing. So that sounds like a great kickoff on Third Friday, and then you'll have the event itself, and then you're going to do follow-ups after that?
Yeah, well. So each satellite event, like I said, we have 11, and I'm going to put them all on our Facebook page and really promote that. But each event is going to be really unique because we're going to have our National Night Out tent set up, our table. We're going to have National Night Out giveaways, sunglasses, frisbees, finger lights, bracelets. We have a nice spinny wheel that kids can come and they can win something. But not just that. So last year, I really want to hit on something. We purchased 100 bicycles last year, and that's one of our biggest draws.
That seems like that's a big kick. I've been out there, and to see the smiles on those kids' faces to get a new bicycle, and I'm sure you're very proud of that part of the National Night Out.
Extremely, and I have I have a bike team. So and Amy Livingston, who works at the Salisbury Police Department, she heads that committee. That subcommittee of our big committee, and she has a great team. And I remember last year when I told her, because the most bikes we've ever gotten was I think 50 and some change, but it was no more than 60. And I told her, I said, Amy, I want to do 100 bikes. And she looked at me like I had 12 heads. And I'm like, and not just that, I want to do different sizes and different gender bikes, and not just buy the all of one size bike, because if you're a 14-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid, you don't need a 16-inch bike. So what we did was we started it last year, about 100 bikes in different sizes. So this year, we purchased 200 bicycles.
That's wonderful, wonderful. And you do this through sponsors? How do you get these bicycles?
Well, it's absolutely through sponsorships. First and foremost, our community is amazing. The way that we set up National Night Out is I start by reaching out to the vendors, usually nonprofits, and what they do is, and our vendors are fantastic. They come out and they're able to allow those that are in attendance, provide them with resources of entities they didn't even know existed, programs they didn't even know existed, that we have right here in Salisbury. The Wicomico County Health Department and different sub-units of that are out there as well, you know. A bunch of different DJS, Department of Juvenile Services, the colleges are out there, other nonprofits are out there, and they're able to provide this information to our community, and insurance groups, nonprofit insurance groups. A mayor group is going to be out there this year. I want to talk about them in just a minute as well.
So that's great. Like you said, it's all about the community, rallying behind each other, supporting each other, the police department, letting our community know that we all got to do this together. I know the part that I'm involved in, the opioid awareness, and it's all about the community. So we're going to be out there this year. So we'll be sharing information with the health department about the opioid crisis. So let's talk some more about AmeriGroup, because that's one of the vendors, one of the groups you wanted to provide some emphasis and more information about.
Absolutely. So a couple weeks ago, and again, going back, what I've been able to establish as the coordinator is these partnerships. And one of my partnerships is with the Fresh Start book bag initiative that they have at the Civic Center. Derek Jarman, awesome guy, and we're participating in that again this year. Another amazing event at the end of August. It's a back-to-school event. It's fantastic if you're not familiar with it. Yeah. So anyway, Nicole from AmeriGroup called me up. She says, "Hey, you know, Derek told me about your National Night Out event." I'm like, "That's pretty awesome. Derek's a cool guy." So we got talking. She's telling me, you know, what their nonprofit is, providing insurance to, you know, low income, stuff like that. She's like, "We want to be involved in yours," which is pretty neat because she's you know, on the other side of the Bay Bridge, so she wants to come down here for this.
So she's got a lot of cities to pick from, but she picked Salisbury.
She picked Salisbury.
That's great.
And so we're talking, and she's telling me, she's like, I want to do a photo booth," and I'm thinking that's awesome because we try to bring new things to the event every year, and one of the things, photo booths are pretty popular. We had already purchased the backdrop, the National Night Out backdrop. We've already purchased the mascot, Nate the Knight. So I was like, I wanted to do this. My original plan was to have a photographer out there and just upload them to Facebook, but she said no. We're going to print them out right then and there, and then we want to do a frame. So that they have a custom National Night Out frame with the AmeriGroup on there as well. So you come, you get your picture taken. We're gonna give it to you right there. It's something tangible, and you capture that memory.
Well, that's good. That's gonna be great. That's exciting that we're bringing new things to the event.
Got a bunch of new things,
and I think that's going to really lend a lot of credence to hopefully we're going to be number one. We want to be number one. So let's rally the community together and let's be number one. That sounds like a great goal.
I mean, eventually that'd be amazing. I mean, right now, just really focusing on making it the best that we can. And with that, it depends on our community showing up. Come out to the event. It's August 6th. If you can't make that event, come out to one of our satellite events, and just kind of circling back to that. Each satellite event, we're raffling off 10 bicycles.
Okay.
So we're bringing 10 bicycles, and not just bicycles. We had to purchase the helmets as well. Maryland Department of Transportation, they're giving us lights, so they're giving us 200 lights. Alarm Engineering, I want to give them a huge thank you. Ron Boltz, great guy. Lillian, who works for him, she reached out to me. She goes, "Oh, this is pretty exciting, National Night Out." I said, "It is." I said, "I got some good news, Lillian." And she's like, "What's that?" Because every year they give the bicycle locks. I was like, "We're buying 200 bikes this year, so I need 200
locks."
She's like, "Well, let me get back to you." And then she called me back. She's like, "We're good to go." So they give us the 200 locks, which is amazing that we can, when someone wins a bike, not just at the event itself, but any of the satellite events, because if you can't make it, I still want to bring a little bit of National Night Out, that cheer I was telling you about, to different events.
So it sounds like we've got a big time planned. So let's remind our viewers what night it is, where it is, when does it start, and of course we want to tell them it's family, fun, and free.
That's the key word.
So let's if you'll review that with us,
Absolutely.
the night, the date, and where it is, and what time it starts and stops.
Absolutely. So the event is August 6th. Again, it's always the first Tuesday in August. It's at the City Park. It's going to start at 5 o'clock. It goes to 8. Basically, one of the biggest things that we do is we offer food as well. So we're cooking up 3,000 hot dogs.
Oh my goodness.
We got 2,000 last year. We're cooking up 3,000 this year. Like I said, 15 was great. That was great in 2018. But I'm a firm believer that you don't go backwards. You got to keep moving. So we're getting 3,000 hot dogs. We're getting chips. We're partnering with Coca-Cola. They're amazing. Just real quick, a lot of this is there's national sponsors which are fantastic. Some of the national sponsors are A&W Root Beer, AT&T, Ring, and they're great. But when it comes to the local, for us raising these funds, we do have to rely on our community partners, the community we serve, and the businesses. And so far, we've had some really tremendous sponsors step up. Coca-Cola, $1,500 sponsorship. Not just that, they're giving us 40 cases of water. Chris McGowan, who's my contact over there, they're setting up a tent. They're going to be giving out diet sodas as well. Fisher's Architect, they're a chief sponsor as well, $1,500 that they've committed. Pohanka, I mean, they're amazing, $2,500. They're a mayor sponsorship, which is $2,500. So they're always involved, and Pohanka is fantastic in our community. So like I said, Walmart has already dedicated 25. Elks Lodge, just today, I picked up a check today for $2,000 from them. So it's really,
again, great community support. So if we've got a viewer that wants to donate or sponsor, how do they get in touch with you?
if they want, it's not too late. If they want to be a sponsor, it's fantastic. What they can do is they can contact me at the police department, Corporal Mike Loring. The best way to get up with me is by email. It's mloring@salisburypd.com. Now, one of the special things that we started doing last year was, what we used to do was just give the volunteers shirts. I make sure that all my vendors get a shirt as well. And we're doing something special this year. Unfortunately, we lost one of our officers last year, Officer Hudson. And this was a big event for him. In fact, it was such a big event that when I took over last year as the coordinator, one of my first things was to make the Huggable station the bullpen, and we made it the biggest that it ever was, because it was a dear friend of mine. And so this year, to kind of pay homage, because this was a huge event for him, my friend, my brother, that on the back of the volunteer shirts, we're doing the heart with the 142 in the middle.
That's great. And 142 was his unit number.
That was his ID
identification number. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep. I'm from Delmar. Grew up with Bull. Very, very personal, touching relationship with his entire family. So again, that's a great honor to one of our fallen brothers in the police service. So again, we'll honor him. So that's great that you're doing that. So again, can they call the police department, leave a message for you?
Yeah, it's 410-548-3165.
Okay.
I work Monday through Friday. We're getting to that point now where our goal is to raise $30,000, and all the money that we raise from our great sponsorships, our great community. This is an easy sell too. When I go out to them and they're like, "Absolutely, we can stand behind that." Because essentially, when you break it down to the bare bones, we're throwing a big party,
Right.
for our citizens, but we don't have any budget for it. We have no budget for this, so it's based on fundraising.
While we're here, community support in Wicomico County and the city seem to always step up. Our residents seem to step up when it's these important events. So,
Absolutely.
So August the 6th, again, City Park, start at 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. One thing we didn't mention that I saw, and I saw last year for the first time when I was setting up, you have a run.
Yeah,
So I saw Chief Duncan, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was in her full uniform. So let's is it still time if somebody wants to run?
Absolutely,
Do
I'm glad
5K?
you mentioned that.
So let's tell the viewers about that.
Dave, you are like a professional here, man. All right, so glad you mentioned that. So last year what we did was brand new. So when I became the coordinator, Chief was like, she wanted some things done, and so it wasn't just, so again, this isn't my full-time job as a coordinator. I'm the training supervisor, really. I'm in charge of recruitment, training, and community affairs. So when I got this, I was like, okay, let's see what was done in the past and kind of like make it the same or very similar before I got this real energy behind me to do it, and my team, my committee, and all that. So she came up to me. She says, I want to do a run. I've been wanting to do a run for a while. Let's do a run. So when the chief tells you that she wants something,
oh, she's the boss.
she's the boss. So I'm like, all right, we're going to do a run. So we put it together. We have some really beautiful finisher medals. We have a great running community here in this area. It's amazing. So we did it at the event. We did it at 4, ran to 4 to 5, and it was blazing hot.
I remember it was unbelievable. It was just scorching hot, and I thought the runners. And then when I saw Chief Duncan in her full uniform, I just didn't, speechless like I am now, just speechless that she would do that for the community.
So absolutely. So when everything was done, and even after the event was done and the run and everything, we did a hot wash, a debrief, and one of the things I talked to some of the runners afterwards and communicated with them, even after the event. And one of the big things was, man, getting off of work was tough. And the time of day was tough, it was hot, and they said, what about maybe the night before? And that was really one of the things that kind of kicked off the satellite events. Okay. So we're actually having the run August 5th, the day before. Okay. That's at the same location, same course. Actually, we changed it up a little bit. It's going to start at the fountain. Okay. By the way, the fountain is going to be blue that night.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Blue lights.
That's great.
It's amazing. Last year it was out of order. This year it's up and running. It's a beautiful fountain. Everyone knows that landmark. So it's going to start there at 6 o'clock. So hopefully it's a little bit cooler. Yeah. And this race is presented by Robinson's family of businesses. Okay. So they're sponsoring it. They're making the finisher medals. We have a great new design this year. So 15. We lowered the prices for registration. Last year it was $10 for adults, $10 for kids. It's now $15 for adults and $5 for kids. Wonderful. And what that gets you, it's the race. You get this beautiful finisher medal. We're gonna unveil it. They're working. I was just there today. They're working on it. We're just about ready to unveil what it's going to look like. Very, very cool things. So that's our last satellite event, and Robinson's going to be out there. We're going to have our National Night Out tent there as well. So if you're not a runner but you want to come cheer them on, come cheer them on. We're going to have a row of police cars out there. Our officers, so it's another mini event. We'll bring some bicycles, and we're going to have a great time. Okay. Great time. And
if they want to register to run, should they go to a website, or how do you have that?
They can go right to our Facebook page is the easiest way. We have it as one of our events. We have a link on there. They just click on the link. It's at NNO Salisbury MD.
All right, so that's great. So they can still register for the run. They get more information about the event. So again, we thank Corporal Loring for taking that time out of his busy schedule. I know he is very busy with these satellite events, with the National Night Out event, but he's taking the time to join us today on Prepare Wicomico. Please go to that Facebook, look on Pack 14. We'll have this out on YouTube, and watch Pack 14 for, again, more information here on Prepare Wicomico.